Jen, I am so excited to have you back. And if you did not hear the last episode or listen to the last episode with my good friend Jen, it was incredible. And, any woman 40 and above looking to lose weight, that is a must listen after you get done listening to this episode. Because today, Jen's back to give us her top 3 weight loss tips for women over 40. And it's going to be like a quick one, but it's going to be jam-packed with 3 amazing tips. So Jen, welcome back.
Thanks. I'm so glad to be back. It was such a great conversation with you the first time. And I've got a few more, I think, really helpful things to share today.
You're so full and so full of information. And like I said in the last episode, we could have gone on and on and on and on. Like this is, and I know this is an episode that's going to be listened to by so many women because this is a struggle I see with almost 100% of my clients, probably 100% of my clients actually. And I think you go a lot deeper, and I'm not going to spoil it, but you do go a lot deeper than just, calories in, calories out, food, you eat, whatever, much deeper than that. So go back and take a listen. But what is the first tip for women over 40 who want to lose weight?
All right. So I want to make this really tangible, right? So really, really tangible. And for those of you who maybe haven't listened to the first episode yet, I've been overweight. I went on my own journey. I lost 35 pounds and I didn't do it in the necessarily typical way. Right. So I tried those typical diet methods way back when, and they didn't work. And so one of the very, very, very first things that I learned that was going to be a critical element of my weight loss success was I needed to start to get mindful with my food, mindful with my eating. And it was not uncommon for me way back then to open up a bag of chips at night, eat out of the bag, eat until, wait, I've finished the bag, without even realizing it, or to come home after work and to be so hungry because I wouldn't have eaten during the day. I was not mindful of my own nutrition during the day, that I would open a box of crackers and eat half a box of crackers while cooking dinner. So the most important thing is, I say, is if you're going to eat, just eat. Do not combine it with any other activity. No phone watching, scrolling, iPad, whatever. Like if you're going to eat, just eat. That's it. Don't eat in your car. And you will be amazed at how your mindless munching diminishes. So the extra handfuls throughout a day are killer for weight loss. We just don't have room for that. So that's the first tip, Renee.
I love that. And, I've started something differently now because I found myself doing the same thing. Like I'll just go grab something or I'm rushing between meetings or what have you. And what I do now is that instead of just grabbing, I might, if I catch myself grabbing, I'll stop and I'll look at it and say, do I really want to eat this? Like if
Yes.
it's a hell yes, I eat it, not the whole bag, but I'll have a couple so I don't feel quote unquote deprived. Right.
Yep.
But then I literally stop myself when I find I'm just doing something and I'm like, do I want this? And sometimes I'm like, why did I just do that? No, I'm not really hungry. Why am I eating this? I'm just thirsty and I put it away. So I think just that, that mindfulness of being in the moment and like actually thinking about what you're doing and not doing 50 other things is really key.
Oh, it helps so much. And you can actually follow the principle of the 3 W's. Why am I eating? What I'm about to eat, like when I'm eating it. So why, what, and when? Why am I eating this? Am I hungry? Do I want this? Am I tired? Am I bored? Right? What am I about to eat? I don't want to scarf in like a bag of donuts or like whatever, what's going on for me?
Yeah.
What's going on? So if you can follow those, everything happens in the pause. So you just got to remember just to quickly, like whether you snap an elastic on your wrist or you like get a glass of cold water or you just take a deep breath, you can change what you're about to do.
I love that. That's so good. And that's going to change so many like just rote habits that people have that, and like you said, just doing just that and just eating and not doing 50 other things. Because if you're scrolling TikTok and Instagram and eating that bag of chips, those chips are going to be gone before you know it. So
you don't even taste them. You don't even taste them.
Yeah.
Can I tell a quick story really quick?
Yes,
Okay. So we made ginger snaps. Ginger snaps are my grandma's recipe. We like them. We like ginger snaps in our household. So I just made cookies with my kids. This is a long time ago. And I'm sitting at the kitchen counter with my laptop and I was working on something. And my son says, "Hey mom, do you want some cookies? Can I bring you a cookie or 2 cookies?" And I said, "Sure, honey, I'd love that. Thank you." So he puts them on a little plate and puts them right beside me. And I was doing a couple things and I look at him and I say, "Honey, I thought you were going to bring me cookies." And he looks at me and he's little then. He's like, "Okay, Cookie Monster, you already ate them." No word of a lie. My son had brought me those cookies. I was busy doing something on my computer. I ate them had clearly no recognition that I'd done it. And then I asked him for more cookies because I had no conscious awareness of what I had just put in my body. It was such a profound moment in mindfulness for me. And it's also funny. He looked at me with such, cookie monster, you already ate them, So I
That's
felt like
so
the cookie
funny.
monster.
And you didn't
Yeah.
even get to enjoy them because you didn't
Didn't
taste
even enjoy them. They were
Oh,
the best
bummer.
cookies. Didn't even taste them. Oh man, yeah, not good.
Not
But how
good.
many times a day did that happen? Right?
Yeah.
Or after dinner. My habit after dinner was I would go by the kitchen, I would go through the pantry, I would grab a handful of chocolate chips out, I would continue to load the dishwasher, I'd go do another pass with more dishes from the table, I'd grab another handful of chocolate chips. And I had this belief that I just needed something sweet after dinner. How many women have that belief? Right? No, I didn't. It was just a bad habit. And the bag of chocolate chips was open. And I was conditioning myself for repetitive behaviors. It was, these are the little things I did that really blocked weight loss.
Yeah. So just stop, pause, and ask the 3 whys. I love
Yeah.
the 3 W's.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Why, what, when?
Yeah. Starts with Y, but 3 W's.
Yes.
Tip number 2.
Okay. This might be one of the hardest ones, the most important tips I share, and one of the hardest ones to implement for women, especially if you're like me, where you'd fallen off your own priority list. I call this the golden goose philosophy. If you don't recognize that in your world, in your family, in your life, you are the golden goose. So let's just think about the golden goose metaphor, the allegory, the fairy tale. The golden goose lays the golden eggs. Everyone loves the golden eggs because it benefits everybody, right? So the golden goose lays the eggs. If that golden goose gets sick, there are no more golden eggs. If that golden goose gets tired, run down, burnt out, worn out, stressed out, there's nothing left for that golden goose to give. As women, you are the golden goose in your family, in your career, in your own life. And it's only when you start to deeply recognize that no one's coming to look after the golden goose, by the way. I used to hope that somebody was coming to save me. I really did. I hoped that I somehow thought that somebody was going to come rescue me and make everything better. No, it was up to me. It was up to me to recognize I'm the golden goose. If I'm not looking after my nutrition, if I'm choosing to run on fumes by not eating, grabbing a cookie in the morning, out the coffee out the door for 8 hours, if I'm choosing to drink a lot at night and then need coffee in the morning to wake up, I was basically making my golden goose self sick. And that's not good. Because I'm the golden goose and I want to give to my clients. I want to give to my kids. I want to be a good wife. I want to be a good friend. But if I have so the golden eggs, let's just call that energy. If I am depleted, if I have no energy, if I'm feeling overweight, frustrated, unhappy, low joy, I got nothing to give. And to me, that just wasn't worth it. So for women, anybody who's like feeling a little bit stressed out, burnt out, tired, fatigued, all the things possibly, chances are you haven't been treating yourself like the golden goose that you are. And it's time to take good stock and even just get a piece of paper down and write down, if I was to take the best care of myself, here's what I would do. And just see what you pour onto paper.
Yeah.
And chances are it's going to be like things like, I'm going to go to bed earlier. I'm not going to watch as much Netflix. I'm not going to drink wine during the week, like work day. You'll know you're going to have your inner wisdom is dying to come out. You just got to ask the right questions. So that would be the second thing I would highly recommend doing and then implementing in your life is the golden goose philosophy.
I love that. And so many women think it's selfish to like give themselves what they need, and it kind of comes back to what we talked about in the last episode about not feeling enough, not feeling worthy, and you got to continue to prove yourself at the expense of having no time for yourself. And I love that. So make sure
it's a self necessity as opposed to selfish. It's a necessity in your life. Yeah. I had to learn this. This wasn't an innate skill set for me, by the way. My husband comments too, and he reminds me when I'm slipping. He's like, you're self-sacrificing again. He's like, stop it. And I was like, oh, right. It's just it happens so quickly. What do I want? What do I need? What do I desire? Oh, who cares? My kids need this. My husband needs that. I need to do this for work, right? We're always going to be balancing these priorities, but we need to err more often in favor of ourselves and our own health and self-care.
Yeah, I love that. And I love how you just put that little reminder in there that you're not 100% all the time either. And when you start slipping, fortunately, you have someone around you to say, oops, you're slipping.
Yeah.
But, hopefully women get to the point where they start feeling that they're slipping and like before they're too far down the slippery slope.
Totally.
Given
I
all
know
that,
now.
yeah,
Yeah. Do you know, like I mean, I know when I'm like, oh, Jen, like that's a few weeks. Like, and then sometimes I'll choose it. Sometimes, right? I'll consciously
yeah,
be like, no, this project's really important. This thing's really important. This life storm's happening. We're not supposed to, I don't believe we're supposed to be in 100% balance all the time. I think even that sets us up for failure, thinking we're supposed to be. I just think that there's harmonies and melodies in life and we've got to balance it.
yeah. I just actually listened to a podcast, and they had four, a doctor, a vet, probably the other two. Of course, I'm like, oh, doctor and vet. She was an OBGYN also, but talking about work-life balance and how there's really no such thing. And we women beat ourselves up wanting that perfect balance where, like you said, sometimes it's more work and sometimes it's more play. And, it's this yin and yang, it's this teeter-totter of like just not staying in one side hopefully too long and not having
Yeah.
any of the other side. I mean, if you can have all play and no work, good for you.
Totally, totally. I
But I
think
don't
we've got
think
to
that's
look at it
bad.
more like as opposed to like every day being in balance. Like take a look at your month, take a
Yeah.
look at your week,
Yeah.
and if it's out, and then rein it in one way or the other. If you're not having enough fun, okay, time to bring up the fun factor. And we just talked about this last night in my household. I'm like, babe, for as much as we're working right now, we're not having enough fun, and he's like, you're right, and again, because life, if you're not proactively looking at your life, then life can just start to happen to you and you got to get control.
Yep. And I have this overarching thing lately is about awareness and everything in life. And we talked about it in the first episode with, mindful, in step one, too, mindfulness, being aware, and some things in the previous episode, but it comes down to everything in life, awareness and stopping and not pausing enough to become aware of what's going on, not only in your nutrition, but in your life and in your household and in your work and everything, and yourself. And are you giving yourself the time that you need to do what you need to do? And it's so sad. Sometimes I talk to actually a lot of women now that don't even know what makes them happy anymore. They're so far
Same.
gone. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're like,
Same. It's one of the most painful questions. What do you want?
they don't even know.
Yeah,
They don't
I
even know.
know. But what an opportunity as well,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
Like,
never too late, right? It's never too late to
exactly.
figure out what you want. So, and it's never
Yeah,
too far gone. You can always figure it out. So, okay, tip
totally.
3.
Okay, so this one is around probably one of the topics I deal with a lot with my clients, and it's around, I'm going to use the words liquid calories. Okay. By liquid calories, I mean all of the ways that we consume calories that are not in the form of chewing food. So smoothies, lattes, vanilla lattes, coffee lattes, tea lattes, alcohol, juice, juicing. Juicing became such a craze for a while there. And here's the deal: most of us as women, we're actually metabolically we're tiny. We don't need 4,000, 5,000 calories a day. We just don't. And it's very easy to accidentally consume 2, 3,000, 4,000 calories, which will be beyond what most of us require. We do this I'm telling you, the impact of liquid calories on weight loss is so extreme and profound. Women who come to me with smoothies that they're putting in good food, healthy foods, whole foods,
Yeah.
hemp, chia, fruit, but the volume of it is huge. They're drinking 1,000 calories without getting the benefit of chewing anything. But probably the one that I really see the most is wine. Wine and alcohol in general.
Yeah.
And over the last 18 months, I think our isolated social drinking, all of a sudden before where maybe you wouldn't have drank at home, you would drink at a restaurant or at a friend's house. What I know is drinking alcohol and liquor sales have like increased a bajillion% in the last 18 months. And what we don't understand is even a 4-ounce glass of wine. I like to use this metaphor because everybody can visualize a piece of bread in their mind, right? You can visualize a piece of bread. A 4-ounce glass of wine, so half a cup, which no woman pours ever, is just like eating a piece of bread calorically. So here we are afraid of food, often not eating much food at all, but we'll drink the equivalent of a loaf or two of bread a week and then wonder why we can't lose weight. Not to mention how alcohol impairs all fat lipolysis from happening. So the minute you put alcohol in your body, even if you've just been in a glucose or fat burning state, you stop it because your liver goes, oh my God, what's she doing? She's poisoning me. And your liver has to work so hard to clear the alcohol out of your system. The biggest thing that I find confusing for women is that they're like, well, like, where do the calories in alcohol come from? right? So they might try to buy like the nudes, the vodka nudes, all those like low, no sugar drinks have come out. What we don't understand is alcohol has calories. Alcohol itself has calories. So a gram of fat has 9 calories, a gram of carbs has 4, a gram of alcohol has 7 calories per gram. So we forget that the alcohol itself is delivering a boatload of excess, unusable, empty calories that our body has to figure out what to deal with. And so I'm not one to say, hey, don't drink at all or abstain from it. I think it's a personal choice.
Yeah.
But you need to understand why, when, and what. How much are you having? Why are you having it? When are you having it? And for what purpose is it serving? So it goes back to the mindfulness one. But I'm telling you, the women who've chosen to learn how to manage decompressing or their stress better, or to simply change their habit and have tea or a bubbly when they get home instead of that transition glass of wine,
Yeah.
weight loss becomes a heck of a lot easier.
So important. And I think it's really empowering for women to take control of that part of their life that they feel is spiraling out of control. Like they're aware of it. And just that, and again, as we talked about in the last episode about numbing and like not feeling emotion, it can be hard that bubbly is not going to take away that, I don't know, that stress you have when you get home at night, or like just doesn't give you that same feeling of quote unquote relaxing that you kind of mentally get, but you can make it feel relaxing, right? So it's a
You just
mindset
have to
thing.
change it. That's so I used to drink red wine. So I was a 2 glass of wine night red wine drinker. Okay. This is back when I was overweight. And I knew I was smart. I knew wine wasn't necessarily good for me. I knew the amount I was drinking and it was not necessarily good for me. And I did go cold turkey. I was not somebody back then who had the wherewithal to know how to I just stopped during weekdays. And I hated tea, Renee, hated tea. And I had to create a replacement for this routine in my life. And I'm telling you, after a month or two, that tea became everything for me. And so, because I was willing to change my mind about something, I was willing to start to believe that this wine wasn't actually helping me, it was harming me. And then I became willing to believe that the tea could be just as much as of a relaxation component in my life.
Yeah.
And the beliefs, right? Like they're so pivotal.
Yep. It's all what you tell yourself. Yeah.
Oh, it's all what we tell ourselves. And even right now, so I just was telling you earlier, I had COVID. I have no sense of taste or smell. Alcohol tastes awful to me. Coffee tastes awful to me. It just tastes bitter and like poison. So it's crazy because I like a glass of red wine. I like, I live near wineries and I like coffee. I did like coffee. And now without being able to taste any flavors, my body rejects it instantly.
Oh my God.
And so what it's doing is it's really redefining my stories and my own belief systems about what I need, what I want, what I think I like. So even at 46, I'm still able to change my mind and have new experiences and go, I'm not drinking coffee. I hate it. It tastes awful to me, but tea tastes really good. So
interesting. Yeah. You've heard that before. I've heard that from others. I mean, in your terrible experience with COVID, I'm sorry, but silver lining, something good came out of it, right? Just another pivot in your life and another way of, stopping, pushing pause and looking at your
I find
behavior.
it fascinating. Like it's like, a Friday night, or you think, oh, with my husband, I'm gonna have a glass of wine. Well, you know what? I've been able to connect just fine with my husband without drinking wine on a Friday night or having a beer. Like the things that we do, or, seeing a girlfriend or celebrating, like I've got a big celebration for a girlfriend tonight. And before that would always be Prosecco and, I'm literally like, I can't even drink Prosecco to celebrate. Like there's nothing in it for me. And power of the mind. Do you know what I mean? Like it's really, really interesting.
And any woman can do this. And we're not saying you can't drink, right? Like what we're just saying is just push that interruption button again, that mindfulness button, that pause and say, why am I doing this? And if it comes a Friday and you want that class, you're like, and
I would have it.
Stop and enjoy it. That's what I do with everything I eat and drink now. I literally, you'll see, I look a little crazy. I look at it. If I have a glass, I smell it, I taste it, or even my food. Like, I'm like, oh, this is so good. Like I savor every bite because food is made to be enjoyed and I make really good whole food. So I enjoy them.
Well, and that goes back to the mindfulness piece, right? So there's something very different about when we do things with mindfulness and when we do things with a lack of consciousness, right? So doing something and being present to our whole experience of it versus Like there's a very different experience between a glass of wine and a bottle of wine. Very different experience between having a piece of brownie and the whole pan of brownies.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, like there's a
Yeah.
difference between having one serving of mashed potatoes or whatever, sweet potatoes, and 3 cups. So there's so much about the enjoyment factor in this, which you
Mhm.
can't do if you're not present. And often we're not present because we're using food and booze to be distracted. If I wrote another book, it would be called Addicted to Distraction, because I believe that that's one of the biggest things we're using food and booze for, is just to distract ourselves from our life.
Well, that should be your third book, because
Maybe,
after this
maybe it
pandemic,
will.
I think it'll be a bestseller.
There
Your third bestseller.
we go. Yay.
Yeah, you can
Yeah.
take a break from book writing though, because I know you just did 2 back to back. So, we'll give you a little bit of a break.
6 months. So my husband said 6 months. I'm not allowed to write for well, not allowed. He's like, I think you should, take a break and do some other things. So I'm doing that as well.
Wow. And keep changing
Uh,
women's lives, because you're amazing. Those are amazing tips. And again, I can go on and just talk and pick your brain some more, but we will end this episode. But thank you so much. And I'll make sure I put all your contact information below in the show notes. And I appreciate you, and I appreciate all the words of wisdom in the last 2 episodes that you've been with me. And I miss you.
Thank
And
you.
you're on the other side
I'm
of,
so
I
grateful.
feel like
Yeah,
you're
I'm
on the
so
other side of the
grateful
world.
for you. I'm grateful for the work that you do, libido. We complement each other's work so well, because so much of what my women experience too is, and I think what I love that there are such powerful, strong women up to such big things that are helping and sharing and being real. One of the things I just said was, it feels like such an intimate conversation with you, and to be able to share this with your listeners,
Yep.
so that hopefully somebody is listening at a time, at a moment where they need to hear the right thing, and it's going to inspire some sort of positive action and change.
Yeah. And it doesn't have to be a Monday, right? They don't
No,
have to
it
wait
doesn't
till
have to be
Monday to
on Monday.
start. Today, right
It can
away.
be right now. It can be the very next moment. It
Yeah.
doesn't matter what's just happened. What matters is what you do next.
I love that. You're so
Yeah.
good. Well, thank you. I'll make sure, you go out, and your 2 books again are the names.
Yeah. So it's Diet Disruption, the weight loss solution for the chronic serial dieter, and Stop Sabotaging Your Weight Loss, Why You Do It and How to Fix It.
In case you missed it in the first episode or haven't listened yet, those are her 2 best-selling books. Amazing. I have 1. I'm getting the second when we get off. And so thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
And again, yeah, this is just a real conversation. I just hit the record button. Everyone can listen in on our conversation, but you are doing amazing things. Keep up the good work.
Thank you. Thanks to your listeners.